Hello, my name is Cami, and today I'm talking with Silvia, who's an Italian instructor at Berlitz. I'd love to hear all about Silvia's experience as an instructor. So, hi, Silvia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you, Cami. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
My first question for you is what made you decide to become a language instructor?
Cami, when I moved to the US, I was working as a pastry chef in Florida. Over time, many of my clients started asking me to teach them Italian. At first, it was informal, just for fun, but I quickly realized how much I enjoyed it. The interaction, the cultural exchange, and seeing their progress really sparked my passion. I loved it. So later, I had the opportunity to teach in an American college in Florida, working with adult students at all levels. And that experience was eye-opening for me. I realized I could actually help someone achieve their dream, whether it was moving to Italy or connecting with their roots or just being able to express themselves in a new language. From that moment on, I knew this was what I wanted to do.
That's so lovely. Okay, and then what about Berlitz? Why did you join Berlitz? And how did you find out about it?
When I returned to Italy, I knew I wanted to continue doing what I loved. So I just updated and organized my CV and published it online, hoping to find the right opportunity. I received a call from Berlitz, and Berlitz asked me if I would be interested in teaching Italian for their live online department. And I started researching this company. I realized how lucky I was to be considered. Berlitz has an incredible history. It was founded in 1878 and is known worldwide for its quality and consistency language education. During my interview, I also learned that I could set my own availability. And that was amazing for balancing work with my family life. Now I've been working with Berlitz since 2021, and I really appreciate being part of such a respected and supportive environment where both instructors and students are constantly encouraged, supported, and respected.
I feel the same way. I've really been enjoying my time at Berlitz as well. How would you describe the Berlitz method?
The Berlitz Method is fantastic. It's a communicative and immersive approach that helps students start speaking from the very first lesson. We use the target language in a practical and structured way, which helps students absorb grammar and vocabulary naturally, just like when we learn our first language. So it works extremely well for beginners because it builds confidence and fluency step by step, but it's also great for advanced students who wants to expand their vocabulary and improve their communicative skills. If you want an example, I had a German student who started with absolutely no knowledge of Italian, not even basic words. And thanks to the consistency of the Berlitz method and of course, his motivation, he became fluent in just a few months. What I really appreciate is that this method puts the learner at the center. It's really adaptable, engaging, and focused on real life communication, which is exactly what most students are looking for.
In your experience, why do students choose to learn Italian at Berlitz?
First of all, one of the main reasons is because of the name itself. Berlitz is a guarantee of quality, professionalism, and results. It's a trusted brand with a long international history, and students feel very confident knowing that they'll be supported by a solid method and experienced and friendly instructors. Then, of course, there are many different personal reasons. Some students, for example, are relocating to Italy, others come regularly for vacation or have Italian family, and many are professionals who collaborate with Italian colleagues or departments, and they simply want to speak proper Italian at work, hold conversations, and build stronger relationships. For example, I have this student from Sweden who lives in Malmo, but he travels to Trieste at least twice a month for business. He wanted to improve his communication with his Italian colleagues and integrate more naturally into the work environment. So Berlitz offers him the flexibility and structure to achieve exactly that. While each student's story is unique, what they all have in common is the desire to learn in a serious, effective, and professional environment. That's exactly what Berlitz offers.
What about flexibility? How flexible are Berlitz lessons?
I have good stories about this. So Berlitz lessons are extremely flexible, and that's something students really appreciate. Scheduling is completely customizable, which means they can fit language learning into even the busiest routines. I had this student who worked in real estate and had a very unpredictable schedule, continuously traveling. He took his lesson from all sorts of places, sometimes from his Ferrari, between client appointments from the airport, or his daughter's horse riding lessons, sometimes from a spa or a treadmill, or from his office, basically wherever he happened to be. Whenever he needed to reschedule, he could simply go into the platform and find a new slot that suited him. So this kind of flexibility allows students to stay committed to their goals while still managing their busy lives. And Berlitz truly adapts to their lifestyle, making language learning both accessible and sustainable.
I've never heard of someone taking a lesson before or after a horse riding lesson, but I've definitely taught a few English lessons when someone's on the way to the airport and things like that. That's beautiful. I think there's definitely a lot of chances to meet a lot of different people from the teacher's perspective. So, how does cultural understanding play a role when it comes to teaching a language?
Is essential. Every student brings a unique background, and being aware of their culture helps me build trust, adjust my teaching style, and avoid potential misunderstandings. We have to remember that we are entering someone else's world, their home, their life, so we should always be respectful and very neutral, recognizing differences in culture, character, and the time it takes each person to feel comfortable. It's important to approach every lesson with kindness, of course, a big smile, and a slow, patient pace. For example, I have taught several Japanese students, and I've noticed that they are often very precise, focused on accuracy, and prefer a more structured approach. They are also a little bit shy at the beginning, and I make sure to match their rhythm and give them clear explanations step by step. At the same time, I love to share aspects of Italian culture that go beyond grammar or vocabulary, like the rules, for example, around food, no pineapple on pizza, or never ordering a cappuccino after lunch. These cultural notes always make students smile and feel more connected. And very often, students also share their own traditions with me, which turns the lesson into a true cultural exchange. It's really, really nice. And this not only makes the learning experience more engaging, but it also helps students understand the language in context, which is the key for fluency.
Do you notice any common mistakes or challenges when it comes to learning Italian?
Absolutely. There are a few mistakes I see very often. One of the most common challenges is the use of prepositions, these very tricky little words. Sometimes students get really frustrated with them. But I always remind them that it's completely normal and they need time to understand, and it's a really difficult part of the Italian language. Another frequent issue is verb conjugation, which can be very difficult, especially with irregular verbs. Verbal tenses like the past, conditional, future, and the subjunctive can cause confusion. A specific challenge, for example, is knowing when to use imperfecto and when to use passato prossimo, which takes time and practice to master. Articles and gender agreement are also common stumbling blocks. You have to to make sure adjectives match the gender correctly. Sometimes you have to think so much about this sentence and to agree every part of it. Do you think you have figured it out? You find exceptions like the word problema. Problema looks feminine because finishes with an A, but it's actually masculine, or words that are masculine in the singular and become feminine in the plural. There are also the classic false friends like finalmente, which many English speakers mistake for finally, alla fine, but it really means at last. These might seem like small details, but they can really impact communication if not addressed early on. I always pay special attention to them in my lessons. And I have to say that students appreciate that because they feel like more connected with the language.
Wow, that's a lot of challenges.
A lot.
How do you overcome these challenges in order to achieve fluency?
First of all, I will always make sure to correct mistakes immediately. So students can avoid developing bad habits early on. I explain the correction clearly and often I give examples so they can see how it works in real context. Repetition is the key. I bring grammar structures or tricky vocabulary back in future lessons to reinforce learning. I speak slowly and clearly, especially with beginners, so they can build confidence little by little. And I always remind my students that fluency is a process. It takes time, exposure, and consistency. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to communicate and feel confident using the language. When students relax and stop fearing mistakes, they progress much faster, I have to say. My role is to support them along the way and make sure they enjoy the journey. And we enjoy the journey together, actually.
Do you have any examples of a student success story?
I actually have two examples. The first is a German student. I remember during our very first lesson asked me if what we were doing was really the most basic level because he didn't know a single word in Italian and he was almost embarrassed and very unsure of himself at first, but thanks to his strong commitment, regular attendance, and a lot of practice, his progress was incredible. Over time, he became fluent and he was able to discuss any topic with ease and confidence without fear of making mistakes. And the second story is about a young woman in the US military. She was a Marine based in Naples. And she was always highly motivated and determined to improve her Italian. I remember her attending lessons often in her uniform, sometimes connecting from quiet spots around the military base where she could find a stable internet connection because it was not easy to find a good connection, and sometimes from home when possible. After some time, she was offered a new position at the American Embassy in Rome, and her Italian skills played a key role in that opportunity. These two students had very different backgrounds, but they both proved that with consistency, motivation, and the right support, fluency is not only possible, but it can truly transform life.
Yeah, wow. It must be so rewarding to see your students go from beginner to fluent as well.
Yeah, it's a great satisfaction for me, a huge one.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of working at Berlitz?
I think it's the strong trust and connection I build with my students. Many of them start out shy or uncertain, and seeing them gain confidence, express themselves more freely, and truly grow both linguistically and personally is incredibly fulfilling. I feel proud when I see how the language becomes a tool that opens doors for them, whether it's moving to Italy, getting a new job, or simply feeling more comfortable in a new cultural environment. What I also love is the rich cultural exchange that happens during the lessons. While I teach them about Italian language and traditions, they often share stories, habits, and values from their own countries. And this mutual exchange makes the experience deeper, more human, and very, very enriching. It's really beautiful teaching, and Berlitz gives me the chance to do what I love every day. So it's not just about grammar or vocabulary, but it's about empowering people and building meaningful connections.
Do you have any kind of memorable or funny moments that you experienced while you've been working at Berlin?
Yes, I actually keep sticky notes with some of the funniest mistakes because they always make me smile.
Mhm.
One example I remember vividly is a student who wanted to say that the mosquito bit her, but instead she said the mosquito chewed her. In Italian, la zanzara l'ha masticata. We both laughed so much, and it turned into a great opportunity to talk about vocabulary differences and pronunciation. So these funny moments are very important actually because break the ice, but also help students feel more comfortable and remind them that making mistakes is part of the learning process. It's normal and can even be fun.
Yeah, and making mistakes is a great way to remember the correct way to say it. Do you have a favorite Italian word or phrase?
It's chi la dura la vince. In English means those who persist win. I love this saying because it perfectly reflects the importance of perseverance and determination, not just in language learning, but in life in general. I often share it with my students to encourage them to keep going even when things feel challenging. It's a little reminder that consistency and effort always pay off. I believe it really captures the spirit of what I try to inspire in my classes. There's another one, but it's very similar. Volere è potere, which means where there's a will, there's a way. So together, these sayings motivate students to believe in themselves and stay committed to their goals.
Yeah, and those two sayings perfectly reflected the success stories of your students as well. Okay, I have another question about Berlitz. What makes Berlitz different from other language schools, in your opinion?
What really makes Berlitz stand out from other language schools, in my opinion, is its long-standing international reputation and the proven Berlitz method, which has been refined for over 140 years. The method is truly immersive, focusing on speaking and practical use of the language from day one. During day one, students can talk. Lessons are conducted fully in the target language, which helps students start thinking directly in the new language rather than translating from their native language. Berlitz offers flexibility, personalized programs that adapt to each student's schedule and learning style, whether they are complete beginners or advanced speakers. We talked about the cultural understanding, which helps students not only learn the language but also feel comfortable and confident in real life situations. What sets Berlitz apart is the high standard for its instructors, because Berlitz carefully selects its teachers and provides professional training, consistent updates and refresher courses to keep teaching skills sharp. Instructors are regularly verified by supervisors and they receive continuous feedback from both students and supervisors. This ensures that every instructor maintains a high level of quality and that students always get the best possible learning experience. Altogether, these elements make Berlitz a place where students can achieve faster, more effective results in a professional and friendly environment.
There's a few questions that we ask everybody in every interview, and they're very quick. Please just feel free to answer in just one sentence. What is one piece of advice for students trying to reach fluency?
Think in the target language. Watch movies in Italian with Italian subtitles. Read and have a beautiful trip in the country of the target language, because that helps a lot to feel more connected with the language.
In one sentence, why Berlin?
Because it's a family.
In one sentence, what was your first impression of Berlin?
Professional, kind, and a very serious company.
In your opinion, what's the most useful English phrase?
Keep going.
This can be Italian. What's a phrase that a lot of people get wrong?
Attualmente is not actually, but at that moment in Italian.
I can imagine getting that wrong as well.
Yeah, the famous false friends.
Yeah. What inspired you to join Berlitz and help people learn languages?
The satisfaction of being able to help someone achieve their goal.
What's the most rewarding part of your job here at Berlitz?
My students' happiness and seeing them being able to speak.
Do you have a quick story of a student or a moment that made you proud to be part of this team?
This German student who started lesson 1, level 1, and with his consistency and commitment, and of course with the Berlitz Method, he was able to get fluent and travel to Italy and maybe look for a job in Italy as well.
What's one thing about working with languages that keeps you excited every day?
Being all around the world during the same day.
It's very cool. If you could learn any language overnight, what would it be?
I would like to be able to speak all the languages in the world because I find that is the key to connect with the world.
That's really great. Thank you for having this interview with me.
Thank you really for this opportunity.
Thank you. Before we say goodbye, do you have any words for anyone that is trying to learn Italian right now?
Feel not only the language, but feel the culture, the country.
I like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cami.
Thank you. And goodbye to everybody who's watching as well.
Thank you. Bye bye to everyone.